Good afternoon.
Good evening, wherever you are. I'm Ariel.
I'm Shya.
And of course, you're listening to Being Here. Today's episode is The Listening Leader. I thought I would read the description. And if you're not driving or out walking, doing something that it would be dangerous for, you may want to just close your eyes for a moment and listen. And if you have your eyes open because you're doing this while doing an activity, you can still see the world around you, but listen. Ready to discover how to dissolve stress and experience a new level of ease around leadership? Here's a hint. When you listen, leading becomes easy, whether you're at home, work, or in your community. Join us in being here and let listening lead the way.
I like that.
It's
very nice.
We recorded another episode of Being Here this morning and had an hour between that podcast and this one. And we really let listening lead the way.
Well, you can listen through your eyes. And if you listen through your eyes, you look around and see what needs to be taken care of so that things are complete around you.
So we vacuumed the house, but I took a look before he came into rooms to see what furniture might need to be moved, because there were dust kitties underneath certain pieces of furniture or extraneous things that could be picked up off the floor.
That was very cool, because I'd come into a room and things were available to be vacuumed.
And then I would look and see when he was done, and I would move things back. So what was interesting about listening is we were listening to each other without speaking. There was not a lot of conversation going on. There was a lot of communication and being responsive and leaping into this hour of our lives as if
it were our idea, not that we had to. It wasn't that we're being victimized by needing to do things in our life. We were just answering the call of what was requested of us.
Got laundry done, got the toilets cleaned, all the day-to-day things that began to build up. And it was really lovely walking across the floor and feeling the space of it. Yes, so thank you so much, Shya. That was really, really lovely.
Fun. I actually love vacuuming in that you see an immediate result. You go from chaos in our kitchen when we've been cooking, all the onion peels don't make it to the garbage can. They make it to the floor though. So you see an immediate completion, and that your mind gets quiet when there isn't things that distract it.
Your mind goes quiet when you're actually listening. Most of us are so smart that our minds can go forward and back. I was telling Shya yesterday that I was writing in my thoughts, like I would start the beginning of an article, and then I'd start the beginning of another article, and I could edit it. So what I did was I dictated the first sentence into an email to myself, and I sent it off. And then it quieted, so I could actually be here to listen to my environment rather than be focused on the commentary in my head.
Well, what's interesting is I had something to say,
Mm-hmm.
but I listened to you, and now I have nothing to say. In other words, by listening to you, I could not hold on to the information that I wanted to talk about. Not that it was terribly important, but it doesn't matter. It was my listening quieted my mind. By listening, I was pulled into this moment And I had to, in order to listen, to truly listen and let in what you're saying, take myself away from, and now I remember what I was going to say, my multitasking mind that I've been trained to multitask by the culture we grew up in, because it's considered a good thing, multitasking. I actually think unitasking is the best way to get through life, though, because when you're with what you're doing, there's satisfaction in the doing of it and the completion of it. Whereas when you're multitasking, it's about getting over with. And I noticed that when I was vacuuming, I wasn't trying to get over with getting that floor cleaned up completely. I was looking at the next place that needed cleaning.
I want to address what you just said about letting go of what you had to say so completely you forgot it. And then, of course, it was still relevant for you. So it did reemerge.
Yes.
But what that talks to in terms of a leader is your security. If you're insecure or you allow your insecurities to come to the foreground, you are determined to make your point. You are determined to have equal input.
Yes, yes, yes.
Rather than allowing the people around you to have their space.
Actually allowing them to be as great as they are. Because if you have to dominate and lead, they can't become the creative geniuses that they are.
Yes. Yes, I really see that as you say that.
And that causes that competition to try to say something important rather than actually look and see what's wanted, what's needed, and provided.
You know, I know we normally do shout outs later in the podcast, but not too long ago, we sent out a call to people in our community. In an email, we may have put it on the Facebook Transformation Made Easy Facebook community page, but we encourage people to write in suggestions for our podcast and also descriptions. We are actually doing what you suggested, which is let other people suggest and show their greatness and their genius. And this particular episode was suggested by Julie, who's a high school principal and a brilliant woman. And what was interesting is when I saw the title and the description, what I don't recall whether we tweaked it or not, because our team did work on the whole list of them. I saw that it was a viable topic, but I had no clue what we would talk about. And I love how it's emerging. And part of it is our guests are listening, you are listening, our producer is listening, and what becomes evoked is something new, something that has not been discovered before.
And it's not something that we've rehearsed or figured out in advance. It's an unfolding in the moment, like a flower blossoming.
So shout out to Julie, and thank you to all of you for listening. Let's take our first guest, shall we? Yuta, welcome to being here, and tell everybody where you are zooming in from.
Hi, this is Jutta, and I'm zooming in from Hademstorf, a little village in Germany.
Nice. Welcome.
Yes.
Thank you. It's so nice being with you today. And I actually almost forgot. I didn't put a note in my calendar. And I'm so happy I'm here now because it's just perfect.
Yes. You know, it's interesting. I know you likely have a question or things you want to talk about, but we spoke briefly with you prior to getting started because we're all here together via Zoom. The guests turn off their cameras. We speak for a bit and then we called you in. Here you are. And I can already see instantaneous transformation
has happened.
In your face shows it simply in the act of listening.
That is very true. And I so enjoyed what you were talking about. And so many pictures came into my head about stuff I wanted to talk about. And I let go of it, and new things showed up. And yeah, when I heard about the title of this show, Listening Leader, I was very drawn to it. And I could see, especially since I said, well, I want to call in afterwards, I saw situations at work, but also in my private life, and I trained with my horse about how listening supports me to lead people and animals as well, to see what's there. And what I also discovered is that I'm very convinced I want to let I lead a small team. I want to let people shine. And that's something my line manager, my boss, always very much appreciated about me. But I could realize that I have one colleague who also applied for my job when I got it, that I was still in competition with him. And that I did listen because I wanted to say something which is better or more correct than he, to prove I got the job because I deserved it.
Do you see another alternative in this moment?
Yes. And it was quite recently when he took over a project, and I was just like, should I have taken the project being a boss, or should I have decided who takes over the project? But then he was dealing with it in a very good way, and I listened, and I could see he's working for the team and also for me. And that felt very calming and very good. It's not that I always have that situation, but I saw it in that moment.
Well, you know, what you're saying speaks to your well-being. It speaks to your being a secure human being rather than an insecure person who needs to constantly prove that they're okay, especially to themselves. And so, you know, I don't know that I have the right, but I'm proud of you. See,
Thank you.
I feel good for you because it's an accomplishment to let go of having to be the controlling factor in your life and allow your life to unfold. And that includes the quality of the participation of your team.
Right. Thank you so much.
You know, there is the possibility that your company will grow and grow in a way that this individual who was being considered for your job could be a co-manager. And there's something wonderful that you're allowing a male colleague to blossom. It also speaks to your ability to jump past the pre-programmed gender war where women have been subjugated. So now they don't want to prove their equality. They want to prove their superiority to balance the scales. And there's another possibility called partnership.
Yes. And I recall myself. I'm sorry?
It works with relationship.
Yes. Yes. And I recall myself I wanted to prove I am superior being a woman. And I recall that my behavior.
And I'm left with the question, Yuta, what kind of person needs to prove their superiority?
Insecure persons. And I have been very insecure.
Yeah. And so you see the indicators of the immense growth that you've gone through without even trying. And the beauty of transformation is it's not that you set yourself goals to be better. You just discover your betterness, and that you're allowing a male coworker to be great reflects your greatness.
Thank you.
And you do have those moments where your insecurities may emerge, but there's the possibility, Yuta, of going to this gentleman and acknowledging, I am so impressed with your take charge, how you've taken over and run with this and how well you're doing. How can I support you? Do you need anything from me to make it easier? Is there anybody from the team that like where there's managing down and then there's managing up to your bosses? By the way, I just want to let you know that Shya is doing this amazing job. He took charge of this and he's really blossoming with it. And our team is working really well and he deserves acknowledgement. So I just wanted to let you know. You could always email that and CC him. That type of thing.
That's a really good idea. And I had another good situation with a team member where one of our board members, member of the executive board, he addressed to me, I have a question regarding a joint venture company within our group, and I addressed it to that team member. And first automatic reaction was, why did he address it to him and not to me as the team leader? And then secondly, I was like, well, he's the best to know. It's part of his business, it's part of his job. And I said, well, thank you for letting me know. He's usually very quick and you will receive a quick response. And if there's anything, let me know, but I'm sure you're in good hands. And it turned out very well. It was just an information, nothing else. But I could see that automatic reaction in me. And then it turned out when I let go and said, yeah.
It's interesting, Yuta. You say you see an automatic reaction in you, and I see that as mechanical behaviors that have heretofore run your life, rather than you looking and seeing what's appropriate in the moment and doing what you need to do then, rather than prove your okayness. That's very cool.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I can actually see it everywhere in life.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
You see it with your horse as well, right?
And you don't need to think about it in advance. It just is obvious when you look.
It's funny when I do horseback riding, I can think of everything in advance, but it doesn't help at all. I need to see in that movement.
That's so good. Yeah, you can think of everything in advance, but the truth is when you're on that horse in that moment, that's where it all's happening.
And you're listening with your legs, your muscles, everything is geared to where you are if you don't want to get tossed off or have your horse grab a bite of grass.
Right. Yeah. And when steering her through whatever there is, I'm writing trail patterns where you put poles on the ground and you have to go above that poles in the right pace and in the right manner, and really to look if you have to turn, for example, left to see, okay, where she's heading and where do I want to go, and then see what she's doing, my horse, and then use my legs or don't, or do it a little bit more or a little bit less, or see, okay, is her pace still steady or is she moving faster? Then I need to get her a little bit back, or can I push her forward even? It's really.
Have you noticed that when you are clear about what you want her to do, she does it without your having to move her to do it?
Yes. This morning.
When you're there, she responds to you rather than you having to tell her what to do.
Control it.
It's allowing it to flow between you. So it's like your mind and her mind meld, so she knows what you want and she does it.
Yes. And she wants to, I mean, she's very, she wants to please. And if I'm clear what I want to do, she knows what to do and she just does it.
Yes.
Sweet. So sweet. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
It's time for our listener feedback spotlight.
Okay, so here we go.
We're going to hear from one of our listeners about how transformation has impacted her life or his life. Let's see.
Yeah. And if you'd like to learn more about what we're up to, come, you could register for any of our upcoming virtual courses.
Or sign up for our newsletter. Just visit
transformationmadeeasy.com.
It really is easy.
It is easy if you know the way.
I'm Heike from Cologne, Germany, and it's just such a sweet thing to be alive and to be on this planet Earth, because I just love it.
Do you want to have well-being with consistency? Connect with people all over the world from the comfort of your own home at Ariel and Shya's lively interactive Living Made Easy virtual seminars. Join any of their 2-hour online events or take a deep dive into the magic of being you at a virtual weekend seminar. Come on, let's connect. Find out more and register at transformationmadeeasy.com.
We have upcoming Living Made Easy seminars Saturday, Monday, and Tuesday, May 3rd. A week from this weekend, like 10 days from now, we are offering our Leap into Life seminar, April 30th and May 1st. It is really a gift to be able to leap into one's life.
Rather than think about what you have to do and then resist doing it and think about it some more,
Yes.
just doing it. But when you jump in as though what you're doing is your idea, a whole new experience of living is available.
It was interesting. Leap into Life was originally planned as an in-person seminar, and it became clear that things were not yet quite stable enough with COVID when we had to really make for plans. And we asked people and they said, no, let's have this one be virtual. So we are leaping into another virtual couple of weekends because this is our idea. New beginnings will be June 11th and 12th. You are welcome at either or both. If you would like to register for a seminar, go to transformationmadeeasy.com. And we look forward to seeing you there.
Yes.
Let's take our next guest.
All right, Naz.
Welcome to being here. And please tell everybody where you're zooming in from.
Oh, hello, Ariel and Shya. I'm Naz. I'm zooming in from Cheshunt in the UK, which is in between London and Cambridge.
Nice.
Okay.
Welcome.
It's really lovely to be here. I was listening in to Yuta and both of you at the beginning of the show, and my question has kind of gone because through listening to Yuta, but there was something you were talking about today about going up and tidying. And I recalled for me, I was helping my husband Lawrence look for a document. And what was fun is I realized there were lots of papers that needed sorting. And within that moment, it was very easy to sort it. And when you were talking about vacuuming and cleaning earlier, it was really fun to, I thought, oh, I didn't think about it. I just did it, which was super, super fun. And I had fun doing it. And I now have a pile of papers that I can shred. And yeah, it's quite fun. I'm looking forward to doing it. But they've been there for years. And yeah, I just wanted to share that. It was really fun.
You know, I enjoy you talking about now you have these papers that you're ready to shred and they've been here for years. What's missing is the self-recrimination the being hard on yourself for them not getting done a moment before they did. There's something quite magnificent about that. Our cat is coming up and Field Day. She's celebrating here.
Yes.
Yeah, it's I find that more and more recently when we're talking about listening, the topic, the listening leader. I found I'm an educator and I educate in a school with young people. When I came to planning my lessons, they used to be very, very rigid. We'll do this here, we'll do this there. And there's something about being in the experience, but also with my pre-planning where I'm a little bit more relaxed. Well, actually, I'm a lot more relaxed because I never quite know what's going to happen until I am there. And
But Naz, if you are there, it's obvious what's needed and wanted. If you're in
yes,
your thoughts, you're not fully there. And if you let a lesson plan determine what you speak about, you may speak about something that's not really relevant to the lives of your students in that moment. It's just what's on the plan to speak about. And that's where you lose people.
yes, I've discovered that. And it's been really fun just to explore what we need to explore in the moment, which might be, it has nothing to do with the lesson.
Yes.
And that's tipped over into my other work where I work with authors. I don't know in the moment what's next. And before, that used to worry me because I felt that I had to be an expert. But what I've discovered is when I'm there is no worry, and I do sometimes have it come up and I think I don't know, I question myself as well. I guess that's my question.
Well, you're questioning yourself is an indicator. It's a barometer that you have gotten lost in something either in the past or the future. Because in fact, when you're in the moment, you don't question yourself at all.
Or I've noticed some things, we have communications via email and via WhatsApp. And you often leave us very lovely messages on WhatsApp. And one of the things about that particular application, if for our listeners who may not use it, it has a function where you can leave voice messages. So it's not just text. So there's some more personal input. And I can always tell how you're doing, Naz, because there are times where you speak to us and you're lovely. And there are times when you speak to us and you're lovely, and we can tell you have attention on how you're doing because the cadence of your voice slows down while you're thinking between the words. Now, I know we have the possibility to speed something up to, double time or time and a half. We never have, but there are times where what you have to say is if you're reading a script. And that's when you have attention on how you're doing.
Cool. Yeah, I love that.
And I'll bet you some of you recognize her lovely, lovely voice because she is the person who has the invitation in the middle of all of our podcasts, inviting people to global video seminars and weekends. And we love your voice. And sometimes it's very fun to hear how you stretch out the words while you're trying to figure out the next one you want to put in place.
Well, when you're well in yourself, when you're present in your life, there's never a question whilst listening to you. But when you are insecure and worried about how you're doing, it comes across.
Now, here's the challenge. If you're normal, most of us want to prove to ourselves or to simply be secure. like as if insecurity is a
Bad.
failing, yes, secure, good. With transformation, it's about the isness of things. So if you find yourself in one moment insecure, it's information.
And if you allow yourself to be insecure when you're insecure, it completes itself in an instant. But if you resist that insecurity, you stay insecure. And you can't prove to yourself enough that you're secure when you're feeling insecure.
I love that.
You know, I remember once when Shya and I we were writing one of our books, and I was working with an editor who also assisted us as a coach, Andrea. And one day I said, you know, I'm just feeling so stuck on this and blank and just insecure about what I'm writing, and something to that effect. I don't really recall the words, but that
And
was the
she
essence.
said,
She
of course
she said,
you
of
do.
course you are. That's so perfect. I thought, wow, you know, okay, I'm perfect. And it just unplugged the clog, and wherever I was. And so the insecurity itself
love
was a
that.
gift, as opposed to something to hide from
Yeah,
oneself.
I'm working, funnily enough, I'm writing a piece currently. I'm writing my first middle grade novel, and I've got to a point where I'm feeling really insecure about what I'm writing. So
Can I say something to you?
Yes.
Of course you are. You know why? I mean, amongst other things, you're writing a middle grade, meaning middle grade. Is that UK speak for like
Junior high
7th,
school.
8th grade, junior? That
Yes.
Do you think that
Kids
age group are insecure?
Yes.
Don't know who they are, trying to figure it out, wanting to be an adult, sort of wishing they were still a kid, you know, in between. If you can allow yourself to be that, then whatever flows out of your fingers when you are creating, they're going to read it and they're going to feel well in themselves, regardless of the subject.
Oh, I love that. That's
Gives me
awesome.
goosebumps.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, definitely.
what a gift you are.
Oh, thank you. It's just a gift to be here and be with you both. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
Mm. If you would like to be a guest like Naz, or would like to submit a listener spotlight, which is the little vignette in the middle of the podcast where people express themselves about transformation, you can go to transformationmadeeasy.com/being here and find out how. Ready for next week's podcast?
I am.
I think it's a perfect slide from the listening leader into to boldly go. We'll be back next week.
So come on back
And
don't
boldly
miss being here.